would like to say one thing I know I will regret if I never say. I love you, Beth Cooper.
At our company at 1492, we optioned the book fairly early on because it was one of the funniest books I'd ever read. But I really didn't have any interest in directing it. And then Hayden became attached to it at some point, and I was working on something else. And I never really thought about it, but I sensed myself as a filmmaker starting to get a little soft and a little spoiled in a way, because you make a couple of Harry Potter movies, directed two, produced one, and you have buckets of money to do whatever you want. Essentially, you build these big sets, and if you don't finish your day in the Great Hall, well, it's going to be there for the next 4 movies. So you get a sense of being coddled, and I thought, I got to get out of this. I thought, if this continues, I don't want to be one of those guys who goes off and just becomes fat and sloppy and makes I just didn't want to get into that Hollywood mode. So I said to myself, I got to go back and think about how I can recharge my own filmmaking batteries in a way and go back to the kind of movie I would have made if as a first-time director, the kind of movie I would have made just out of film school. And I thought about the movies I had been writing at the time back then, which were Gremlins and The Goonies, and then my first directorial, the thing I directed was Adventures in Babysitting. I thought, I'd make a companion piece to Adventures in Babysitting, a movie that has kind of an 80s vibe, is not set in the 80s, but in whatever the genre would be, I wanted it to have that kind of 80s vibe. And I thought, well, this potentially could do that. And it's a bit of an homage to a guy who gave me a big break when I needed, John Hughes. And those movies like 16 Candles, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, even Weird Science, movies that were a lot of fun for me at the time. So I thought, I want to make a movie like that. And that's really what did it. And Hayden, as I said, was already attached, so I jumped into it wholeheartedly. No budget, basically, a few newcomers, and Hayden was our biggest star.
Why did you do that? I thought you were smart.
She finds in him something that she's very envious of, something that she's jealous of, something that she wants and doesn't have, which is that she thinks, high school is her shining moment in her life, and this is going to be the best time of her life, where she's the queen bee, but the rest of her life is going to amount to nothing. She's going to be ordinary. She's not going to be anything special. She's not great at one thing. She's not super talented, super smart. She doesn't have anything like that going for her. But this kid, Dennis Cooverman, is this brilliant kid who obviously didn't have such a great time through high school, but the rest of his life, he's going to be great. She says, you're going to be great. Your life is going to be wonderful, and you're going to go so far, and you're going to do so many things, and you're going to be one of the most brilliant minds of your generation. And she's envious of the idea that his life is going to continue and hers is not.
Really? Dude, actually, I got these as a gag gift, so it's appropriate that you're laughing.
It's okay.
No, it's good. I'm happy that you guys got the joke. Good one.
Okay.
Oh no, purple's not really my color.
It's fuchsia.
Right. I saw some of his videos online, which are hysterically funny, but they're very broad, so I didn't know. Well, I said, this guy is Jerry Lewis I'm getting involved with here? I was meeting, when I was meeting him. And he came in to meet, and he was the sweetest guy. And I thought, well, he's got a really sort of intense emotional core, and if I can get to that, if I can actually break through the sort of the silliness and the broad comedy that Paul's capable of doing and get to that core, we may really have something here, because the biggest challenge in the movie, the other thing that fascinated me about the story is high school is such an emotional time, and you have this girl who's had the 4 greatest years of her life, and on graduation day it sort of goes up in smoke, and then she begins a sort of a decline in her life into a very ordinary life. He has had the 4 worst years of his life, but on graduation day he has the potential to go on and start to do great things. And I love the fact that their characters intersected at this one moment in their lives where they could potentially emotionally connect with each other. Not romantically, they have this one moment, they may never see each other again. And for me, it was like, the challenge was, how do I get the audience to buy the emotional connection between a character as extreme, with the extreme physicality of Paul Rust and the incredible beauty of Hayden Panettiere. And that was the big directorial challenge for me.